Hey guys, welcome to Cinematopical. Nate here, and today I have my top 10 favorite movie quotes. Really hard to narrow down. Some of them are just silly, and I just like the movie, and it's one of my favorite quotes from the movie. Some of them a little more deep, and I think have lessons that we could learn from them. Number 10 is, yeah, we're in the Rockies, which is, of course, from Dumb and Dumber. And what I really like about this quote, besides the fact that it's very funny, is that this movie plays around a lot in that sometimes these two characters are just completely stupid and literally have no sense at all. But every once in a while, they'll say a quote like this, which is actually pretty smart, and it's common sense. We're in the Rockies. Why wouldn't I have two pairs of gloves? And the other one didn't get it and has been freezing the entire time, which re-adds the stupidity to the cleverness. So, yeah, it's my favorite quote from Dumb and Dumber. Number 9 is from a movie not a lot of people have seen, but I think it's a really good movie. And the quote is, maybe we're all just ugly, dying sacks of shit, and maybe all it takes is one person to just be okay with that. And the movie is Swiss Army Man, which has Harry Potter in it, which should be good enough reason for you to go watch it if you haven't seen it. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good life lesson in that. People try to be special all the time, and I don't think that being special is the answer. Number 8 is, it belongs in a museum, which is from Indiana Jones. And I really love that because despite that Indy is the swashbuckling, adventurous ladies' man that he is, the dude just really loves history. And the fact that in the middle of trying to recover these artifacts, that is what his biggest concern is not someone profiting off of history for their personal gain, but it just really sums up what Indy's all about, and I dig it. Number 7 is, I don't care, which is from The Fugitive. Tommy Lee Jones's response to Harrison Ford saying he didn't kill his wife. And what I really love about this quote is that, similar to the Indy quote, it just sums up who this character is in one word. We don't need exposition. We don't need any explaining what this guy's background is. Just in one word, one sentence, I don't care. We learn that he doesn't care and that this guy is committed to his job, and the fact that he has been given one person to hunt down, and that's it. He doesn't care if you did it or not. He's going to do his job. And it's a great quote because of what it tells us in the story without having to go too far. Number 6, I could have chosen probably 8 quotes from Casablanca, but I didn't. I just chose 2, and I made them my 6 and my 5. And number 6, I went with, I never make plans that far ahead, which is Rick's response to, I already forgot her name. This is like the second time I've tried to film this list, so I was more prepared the first time, but here we are. But anyways, she's like, hey, I want to hang out tonight, basically. And he's like, I don't make plans that far ahead, which is cold. Rick is one cold motherfucker. And again, it's a line that just tells you so much about a specific character, which is similar to Rick's quote that I have at number 5, which is, I'm a drunkard, which is how he responds to the Nazi guy when he asks him what's his nationality. And these 2 quotes, together, just tell you everything you need to know about Rick. At this specific point in the story, he is neutral. He does not want to be committed to anybody. He does not want to be committed to any country. Rick is just trying to live his life and wants everybody to leave him alone. And it's really important for that character. And those are 2 great lines to illustrate that. At number 4, a quote from one of my top 10 favorite movies. And the quote is, they worship everything and value nothing, which is from La La Land. And what I really love about this is that it's actually really great commentary on how I think that kind of the world sort of is today, in that everyone really does worship everything and values just about nothing, because we live in a world that is pretty much just based on clicks. I mean, and maybe semi-hypothetical for a guy to be saying on YouTube, where I hope that you like this video and comment on it and subscribe to our channel, but that doesn't mean I have to like that about myself either, or the world that we live in. So the fact that they were able to slip that in La La Land and the way that I feel like it applies to the world today, pretty cool. Number 3 is the more you know who you are and what you want, the less you let things upset you. And that is from Lost in Translation. It's said by Bill Murray's character. His character is set up as kind of an older, wiser figure to Scarlett Johansson's like younger, wide-eyed character. And I think I like this quote so much because I found it to be very true for myself. When I was younger, I didn't know anything about who I was or what I wanted, and that really did heavily contribute to how much I let certain things bother me. Whether it was like stuff going on in the world, or things that this person said to me, or that person did to me, or did to someone else. You know, I get pretty fired up about things. Not that getting fired up is necessarily always a bad thing, but people who don't know who they are tend to overreact to certain things versus like the legitimate like calmness and more steady mind that you get when you do know who you are and what you want in life. And I think it's very important. You should try it. Number 2 is your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should, which is said by Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park. And I like this quote because I do think it applies to modern science. It certainly applied to the scientists in Jurassic Park, but I think it also applies to almost every aspect of at least what our country has become, and that people really are just so much more concerned with whether they can do something or not, that they don't really stop to think if they should do it or not. And whether you are coming from some sort of religious background, atheistic background, whatever. I've been reading a philosophy book lately that's been talking a lot about morals and where they come from. And everyone, whether they believe that they do or not, has a set of morals. But just because you have a set of morals doesn't mean that you adhere by them or pay attention to them. And when you don't, you get this quote, which is when you get so preoccupied by whether or not you can do something, you don't think about whether or not you should do something. And that tends to cause a lot of headaches for yourself and everyone else around you, especially if you are a person or entity that has a significant amount of power and you are just doing things because you can and not really for the good of everyone else. And it makes me sad. But then number 1, my favorite quote is from a really, really recent movie by one of my favorite, if not my favorite director. The quote is, "It doesn't matter, just keep telling the story." And it is from Asteroid City, directed by Wes Anderson. And it is said by Adrian Brody to Jason Schwartzman's character when he says that he doesn't understand this play that he's been doing over and over again. And the response is, it doesn't matter, you just keep telling the story. And that obviously has some significant life application. I feel like I could probably talk for a really long time about how I feel like that can be applied, but I'm not going to. I think that you should just think about it, and that everyone should think about it. And I think that's one of the best lines that I've ever heard written in a movie, and it makes that movie really good to me. So let me know what some of your favorite movie quotes are down in the comment section below. Scroll back up, like the video, subscribe.
It's not a game, it's a